Today we're taking a look at the most powerful skill book completion bonuses in 7 Days to Die. For those of you that don't know, when you get all 7 of a skill book, you get a bonus, and we're looking at 7 of the most powerful ones in the game. These are in no particular order, but I think the first and last are definitely my favourites. The first one here is the Batter Up skill book. This one's very simple, but insanely powerful. Very simply, every time you get a powered attack kill with a club, you'll get all of your stamina back, which means that you can effectively power attack infinitely, assuming a couple of things. A, that you've got a decent club and a couple ranks of Pummel Pete, if you're playing on a hard difficulty, which if you're going for this skill book you probably do have both of these things already. And B, you're primarily hitting headshots, which is going to really help with your damage. If you focus on headshotting enemies, it doesn't really matter what difficulty you're on. With a good club and a couple of ranks of Pummel Pete, you're going to kill most enemies in most 3 to 4 hits, which means if you power attack with this book you can just chain hits together forever, as you use a couple hits to kill a zombie and then your stamina is fully reset. Not only will this save you in fights and increase your DPS massively, particularly on Horde Night, a much less known benefit is that the stamina it gives you is completely free, meaning you're actually going to be using a lot less food and water, because you won't be actually using any food or water to regenerate your stamina during the fight, because normally you use your food and water points to regenerate stamina, but this effect completely overrides it, as the stamina you get from it is completely free. So your food will only really go down as you regenerate health and gradually over time, and your water will only go down gradually over time. But by far, the biggest use of your food and water in this game is actually regenerating your stamina bar from sprinting and melee attacking, and this effect basically eliminates that. As if clubs weren't powerful enough, they're also keeping your food and water bar up. All hail the club, the undisputed, undefeated, universal weapon of mass destruction. Next, we have the Automatic Weapons skill book. The completion bonus of this book will make it so that when you kill an enemy with a machine gun, you'll run 20% faster for 20 seconds. This is very powerful with the right build. You see, the entire Automatic Weapons skill book and the entire Machine Gunner perk is secretly geared towards one very specific playstyle, a no horde base playstyle. You see, if you have all the ranks of Machine Gunner, you get 6 stamina back per shot hit on an enemy with a machine gun. And then the Automatic Weapons books generally lend themselves towards making machine guns more accurate and damaging, particularly as you continuously fire and hit enemies. And the completion bonus makes it so that you run 20% faster every time you get a kill with a machine gun. You can probably see how these 3 things could be combined into an extremely powerful build that doesn't actually need a Horde Knight, assuming you have ammo. It's also the most fun way to beat the Horde, objectively. I am a scientist and I said so. Moving on. Next we have Urban Combat. Now this boost is far more low-key than the last 2, but I think it deserves some credit. It simply makes it so that you don't have a damage penalty when you're using a silenced gun. For those unaware, attaching a suppressor normally reduces the damage your gun does, and this circumvents that. So right away, if you're someone who likes to use a suppressor, then this boost is a must-have, of course. But what if you don't use a suppressor? Well, we need to give you a few reasons why you should, don't we? First of all, scientifically, once again speaking as an expert in science, suppressed weapons look and sound cooler, and if you disagree with that, you're not allowed to come to my birthday party. Second of all, suppressors of course reduce the sound you make when firing a weapon, so if you do use stealth and you want to use guns, you could probably find a way of combining these 2 very niche and unrelated hobbies. And finally, this one's more for everyone. Equipping a suppressor reduces the heat produced by your gun, which means less screamers when you're clearing out big POIs with your big loud guns. If you're someone who does like to use the screamers for XP, then you can continue on to someone else's birthday party. But that reduction in heat can really reduce the amount of screamers you get as you clear out POIs. So there's definitely something for everyone there. Stealth players get to do more damage, run and gun players deal with less consequences, and people who agree with me get cake. Segue. This one goes out to both the stealth players and the run and gun players, as it has something for both of you. Sniper. Sniper will give you the ghillie suit schematic, and it will let you bulk craft 7.62 ammo, which means you can craft any 7.62 ammo 20% cheaper by crafting the bulk item. Run and gun players, this means that you have more ammo to hit the bad guys with. As stealth players, you get the ghillie suit. Now the ghillie suit is a criminally underused item, which comes in 3 pieces crafted from plant fibers. It reduces your noise and visibility considerably, and makes sneaking much easier. Now I would never recommend using the helmet piece because it removes a real helmet, and as such you would lose access to damage resistance, headlamps, pocket mods, mufflers, custom fittings, a lot of things that are very useful about armor pieces. But the jacket and legs, those are just clothing slots, and they are free real estate. You can of course throw pocket mods on both of these, so you're missing out on nothing but a little bit of temperature protection when using the ghillie suit, but remember, temperature does almost nothing in this game. Don't worry about it. Also, you can dye the ghillie suit various colours, which I find endlessly comical. If you're using stealth, the ghillie suit is one of your most powerful items in the game, and you should definitely grab this book series for it. Vaguely related to this, in that it's also a sneaky little skill book, we have Great Heist. The completion bonus for Great Heist is literally just the first rank of lockpicking. It's the exact same thing, but it doesn't cost you a skill point. And even if you do already have all 3 ranks of lockpicking, it's like a 4th rank of it, giving another layer to the 2 main effects of the perk. There's nothing much else to say here, it just lets you craft lockpicks, and it's quite useful if you do a lot of lockpicking. Pistol Pete comes in next with a very interesting bonus. At point blank range, which is within 3 meters by the way, I tested that, you'll ignore 20% of armor and you'll inflict 20 bleed damage over 20 seconds, with 9mm weapons of course. And it'll let you bulk craft 9mm ammo. So the super cheap ammo becomes even more super cheap. Great, and the lowest damage per shot guns get a decent little boost to their damage per shot, assuming you're within 3 meters of your enemies, which is gonna happen pretty frequently in POIs and Horde nights, especially if you let the zombies get a little bit closer or if you're playing on very fast zombie speeds. I did check by the way, and unfortunately getting ranks of deep cuts does not allow you to stack more bleeds onto zombies, so you can only do 20 bleed damage to each zombie every 20 seconds. But if you think of it in a Horde night situation where you're blasting all the zombies in front of you, that extra damage is going to add up across the Horde night. And the extra armor penetration is of course really nice as well. Oh, and the bleed can also come in handy if you're doing a stealth build and you just barely don't do enough sneak damage to fully kill an enemy. The last 20 damage there might just finish them off for you, saving you a bullet or a melee attack. And the last book is of course Art of Mining, because this book series stays winning. It gives you a 20% chance to one-shot any ore in the game. This works with an auger. Do I really even need to say more? It massively speeds up your mining. The only drawback is that it doesn't actually work on stone. But iron, oil, lead, nitrate and coal are all fair game, and it really does speed things up, sometimes too much. You might see a few more screamers when you're using this, but of course you can just use a suppressor on your gun the next time you clear a POI and you'll stay carbon neutral. If you enjoyed this video, you might really enjoy a very similar one I did where I went over my top 7 individual skill books, which will be popping up right now. As usual, if you want to support me over on Patreon, the link is in the description if you want early access to these videos. Thank you to my channel members and patrons for making this video possible, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.